Welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. I'm Jessica Stutzman. Today, I'd like to welcome you to the historic Presque Lighthouse. Built in 1872, the Presque Lighthouse has been a staple at Presque State Park for nearly 150 years. Recent restorations made to the brick lighthouse and surrounding property will help preserve this iconic landmark for generations to come. We are here in the Presque Lighthouse Welcome Center with Michael Sullivan. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can tell that you guys are so busy with renovations, gearing up for tours. This summer hit and you guys really hit the ground running here. So it's been about a year since we visited you last.
Correct.
And I wanted to know what changes were done to the lighthouse in the last year, to the property, to the building, to the new Welcome Center.
Sure. Jess, thanks for being here, and thanks for coming down. Over the course of the last year, we have been extremely busy. In no uncertain order, we finished a fence all around the compound, a period fence around what we're calling now the campus. We put an entire new yard in. We put brand new, beautiful sidewalks in around the compound. We put a flagpole in. It was donated by Sally Kohler, beautiful flagpole on the property, and all of this is period correct. We know exactly where everything's supposed to be because we have the pictures from years past. Just earlier this spring, we completed the painting of the inside of the tower. So the inside of the tower really needed it, and we got the inside of the tower all scraped. The steps all ground down and painted, so we finished that project too. The big project is what we're in here now. We're calling our Welcome Center and our gift shop here. We have some offices in here. We have volunteer offices in here. So as you can see here, we're just thrilled with this. This has taken about 3 years to get done. Started in late October, and we finished a couple months ago, and we're in the process of moving in now. Yeah.
And everything you're doing is a work in progress. The fence is a beautiful natural wood color right now, and it's going to be stained a new color based on, like you said, the pictures of the time period of the lighthouse. So what's that going to look like?
Correct. We are going to stain it white. Again, we have all the pictures from the early 1900s, so we are forming a committee now of volunteers to stain the fence. It's been up about a year, so it's pretty well dried out. So we should be able to stain it this summer. Looking forward to that project.
And I want to talk about, again, the building that we're in right here, the Welcome Center. This used to be a garage. What was the estimated cost for the reconstruction of this building? It is absolutely stunning.
Thank you so much. The cost, I could tell you down to the penny, but it was about $300,000. So we're thrilled with the project. It did come in under budget a little. It came in on time. And as you can see, everything was done first class. Kidder Wachter was the design team that put this together. And we had a lot of Erie contractors work on the project and stuff, but just the windows and the whole ambiance of the building is stunning. And it really does fit the look of our property and the campus and the lighthouse. So we couldn't be happier.
And so when visitors first come and they want to either go shopping here in the gift shop or to buy their tickets for the tours, what are they going to experience and see inside the gift shop?
Well, we have, our rule for the gift shop, our rule is to try to have everything sourced here in Erie with Erie artists and Erie vendors. And then we expand out to Erie County and the state and try to keep everything within the United States also. So a lot of gifts that would be lighthouse related, lake related, Great Lakes related. And so that's the focus. We are going to be open up on our first day will be May 24th, which is Memorial Day weekend. And the lighthouse, the gift shop here, we're talking about possibly keeping open through the holidays. Limited basis in the fall, but possible Friday, Saturday, Sunday through November and December, and have some Christmas activities here at the lighthouse too. Also in the Welcome Center, you'll buy your tickets. And this year, I think there's the $6 charge stands for the tower, and then there'll be a charge this year of $3 to tour the house. where we have docents in there,
Right.
et cetera.
Right.
So,
And you guys had a wonderful turnout for 2017. How many visitors came through last year?
well, we know exactly. We had over 16,200 visitors to the top of the tower, which is an incredible amount. None of us here on staff thought that would be possible. And even the park, the administrators, was an overwhelming number. And I'd like to say that it was gratifying that they all came, but they also went up, 16,200 people went up the tower and came down safely. We didn't have a twisted ankle. But saying that, we had double that going through the house. So we had probably 40,000 people go through the house. And I couldn't even estimate how many people were on the grounds. It was in the thousands. We had people from, we know for sure, from every state in the Union and 39 foreign countries.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people come and visit the park. It's absolutely gorgeous, and so they do.
And besides visiting the park, how can members of the community, visitors from outside Erie, how can everybody support your organization?
Well, you can become a member, of course. We have donations here once they're on the grounds and stuff. But our membership is growing. We've had it for the last year. You can go online to our website, presquelighthouse.org, and donate online. So becoming a member, supporting the Lighthouse, that's huge. I think you've already spoken about the license plates. There's some money there, but really becoming a member to support. And the volunteers, I want to talk about the volunteers. When I give you this number, you'll be shocked. We need 98 volunteers a week to keep this lighthouse open. We have two shifts. We have a morning shift and we have an afternoon shift. And each shift we need seven individuals. So that's 14 people a day times 7. I think if the arithmetic is correct, it's 98 people. One of the astounding facts that I have is last year we had 105 volunteers. And out of the 105 volunteers, 101 volunteers returned, which is incredible. I mean, it's incredible.
Great return rate.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And then we have 39 new volunteers this year. So we asked the volunteers to get slotted in for a week and stuff, a shift a week. So we should have it covered. These are very, very dedicated volunteers. And I think what they like about it, it's fun. You're on the beach and you're at a lighthouse. So
yes.
It's a great place to volunteer.
You can't get a better summer than that.
No, absolutely can't. No.
Okay, so we become a member. We're going to donate on your website.
Yep.
Become a Lighthouse volunteer.
Correct.
We're going to get a Presque license plate. What about if there's any interest on somebody becoming a member of your board of directors?
They can always contact me here directly at the Lighthouse. As I say to people, my cell phone doesn't work well down here. We're 5 miles out on the beach, but they can call us here at 833-3604, and we're always looking for great qualified people to be involved in the Lighthouse.
Our viewers want to find out more information about the Presque Lighthouse. Where can they turn to?
Most of it's on our website, and that's at presquelighthouse.org. You can call me directly, which is always safe, at area code 814-833-3604. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram also.
Wonderful. Yeah. We're going to put those details up on the website.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Viewers, we are going to take the tour of the lighthouse and the grounds with Jackie Tamaro, and she has a wealth of knowledge that she's going to be sharing with us. Viewers, we are standing right in front of the lighthouse, in front of the front door, and I am here with Jackie Tamaro, who is going to give us all the details on how we can get a wonderful tour of the inside of the lighthouse and all the way up to the tower. So Jackie, when visitors arrive, where does the tour begin for each?
Begins right on this sidewalk, okay? They will purchase their tickets and then they will come into the house. Now, there's a charge to come into the house. There's a $3 charge this year. $6 to climb the tower. So there's two separate charges, and people will get different tickets when they purchase them. And so they'll come to the door with their tickets. The greeter will then direct them in the right place.
Okay, so we're going to park along the parking lot or along the side of the road, come up this beautiful path, and then we go into...
They have to purchase their tickets first.
They have to purchase their tickets at the new building.
At the Welcome Center.
At the Welcome Center. And it is not a garage anymore. It is a beautiful white Welcome Center, White House Welcome Center. And who conducts the tours for the visitors?
Okay, I am happy to report that we have 140 volunteers.
140. That's a lot of volunteers.
But we have to have 14 people a day to conduct the tours. So what we've done is we've asked people to sign up for the same time each week, and that seems to be working. I don't want to forget the fact that of the 140, 101 are returns. So I just want the viewers to know that this is a fun job, and the volunteers love it, or they wouldn't be returning. So it's fun to interact with the people. The people come from all over the United States and foreign countries. The Lighthouse is a magnet. You know, it just attracts people, and we're excited to be here. But the volunteers, we could not do it without the volunteers. They are truly the key to the Lighthouse.
And I saw that you're doing a lot of renovations. You have a lot of new amenities for both the volunteers and for the public. But who can volunteer? Who should do this?
Anybody who's over 18 can volunteer. They have to fill out an application, and there is a volunteer coordinator. And so the schedule is set up. They follow that schedule. People report in. It's a seamless process, I want to say, but the real key is the people. I mean, they have to show up. They have to know the script, and we'll talk about that when we get in the house. How we let the volunteers have the information to share with the people. So that's the fun part of it too.
And for me, I have a passion for history, for lighthouses, for historic buildings. So if those are any of those are something that you're passionate about as well, you're going to want to volunteer at the Lighthouse.
And I might add that we are open 7 days a week.
Okay.
So that also involves a lot of people to make it to our Lighthouse and to learn the information that I'm going to share with you when we get inside, because it's all been scripted for the volunteers. So I don't want the viewers to worry about, do I have to read all this? Do I have to know all this? No. There are scripts, there are pictures, and you just learn basic information. You make little cards for yourself, and it really does flow. And then the people will ask questions, and you get the energy from the people who are coming in. It is just a fun thing to do. Plus, we're at the Lighthouse.
Right, and you can be inside, outside. It's gorgeous weather here today. So the script you were talking about, first of all, what are the hours for the volunteers? Because I know that it is open 7 days a week now.
Right, 7 to 5, and each volunteer does a 3.5 hour. So when you come in at 10, you work till 1:15, 1:30, and then 1:30 to 5. And so the process, like I said, though, we need 14 people a day. That's a lot of people. But to have the scripts and to have stations, and you'll see the stations that we have picked out in there, we always have to have a person at the top of the tower, okay, just for safety and to tell the story up there. We always have to have a person in the oil room, because one of our guidelines is we can only take 10 people or send 10 people up at a time. So that becomes an issue where we have to corral the people in the oil room, tell them the story, wait till the people come down, and then send the next group up.
Okay.
So like I said earlier, it's a process. But so the volunteers, again, are the key, because they have to keep that 10 people moving, 10 people down, and then the flow of people through the house will be different. That's a $3 charge for the people to come in the house, and there will be a docent in the house, and there'll be things to show them in there. But I want to tell the viewers too that, you know, the house has not been restored to the early 1900s yet. So they need to be patient with us. We need to raise money. We need to do a lot of things before we can make it look exactly where we want it to go. But this is a real start, the way it looks now.
Right, and the admission fees help you reach your renovation goals.
Exactly, exactly. And that's exactly where it goes, you know, is to do the restoration. And so we hope that viewers, and I just want to say at this point that last year in our records, while we had 16,000 people climb the tower.
That's incredible.
Isn't that incredible? And another 30,000 who just visited. Most of the people, 80 to 85%, were not from Erie County. So I know this is going to Erie County, so let's encourage our residents to come and see us.
Right.
And volunteer.
Right. So it's like a staycation. We're going to go to Presque, hit up the beach, and then come to the Lighthouse. And the scripts, I want to get back to those scripts. I'm sure there's, you know, a packet that you give them to study so they feel prepared when they are about to give their, you know, their first couple of tours.
And the main theme that we want to share with all of our viewers and all of our volunteers do share is that the Presque Lighthouse has been a working aid to navigation since 1873. Now, what that affords is you can weave through the old keeper, the middle keeper, all 9 keepers into your story. Then you talk about who lived here, like the park ranger lived here. The park managers, I'm sorry, lived here. So, and it's still a working aid to navigation. So that's our theme. Presque Lighthouse has been a working aid to navigation since 1873. It has not gone out. The light still comes on.
Right.
And you'll be able to see that when you go up. You can put your finger, it's pretty sunny today, but you can put your finger on the solar dot and it will come on. So that is the theme for our volunteers, is to share that with all of the people who come in. Because there is so much information, Jessica, and people are so different in what they want to know about lighthouses. We hope that they'll take that one thing away, that it still is a working aid to navigation. And that's what really challenges us, to restore it the way it looked before, but to also keep the story going of what it does now. So
It's so special to Erie and to Presque Isle. So again, here on the grounds, there has been so much work done. Tell me about each of the buildings before we go inside and take a look. Tell me about each of the buildings that we have here on the site.
Okay, the building that's right behind us, okay, is the oil house. Now, that was built in 1899 and it's still standing, and it's a really sturdy. It's it's brick lined metal building, and the only purpose that it served was to store the kerosene, to store the flammable fuel that was used in the oil room, in the tower, and in the residence. And so again, that was built only for that purpose. And again, I want to add that the lighthouse only had one purpose. You know, people forget that. The only reason this lighthouse is here was to shine that light over the water for all the people traveling. And I have a picture in there to show you about all the ghost ships, all the ships that sank out here. That's another whole story to talk about, you know, why Lake Erie is so ferocious and why so many ships sank. And so, but the scripts, as you pointed out, the scripts are there, and our volunteers can really pick out the part that they want to concentrate on. And but one thing that drives this whole thing is the time constraint. We have to send people up in the tower every 20 minutes. And so our volunteers, that's a challenge, because volunteers know so much information.
Right.
And want to share so much information.
Right.
That's why the scripts become really important, and the pictures.
Right.
Because we go from the pictures, up the stairs, down the stairs, and then through the house.
Okay, and so we just got a little taste of what the volunteers are going to learn. And if you want to become a volunteer, where should they go or who should they call?
Okay, the number, just call the Lighthouse, and the number is 833-3604. And they can request an application, or they can go online and send their name to, and the person who is the coordinator for that is Mary Ambrose, and she will go back to them immediately. We are starting with 140 volunteers, but it is summer, and so we have to increase that number. We actually have to increase it all summer long, because people go on vacation, things happen, and so we're looking forward to working with these people and attracting new people.
Right. Jackie, this was so exciting. I am ready to get the tour of the oil house, the lighthouse, so that's where I want our viewers to go next.
Okay.
And now we are in the oil room. Can you explain the difference between the two?
Sure. The oil house was where we stored the flammable fuel, and the oil room is where the keeper brought it each day, so that he could prepare the lamps for every single night. He worked third shift.
Right.
So as soon as the sun went down, he had to have those lamps all ready to go up in the tower to light the light.
And it was a safety precaution that he brought in oil every single day, is that right?
Right, yeah, a lot was not brought in to the house for that reason, and this would have been the room where he prepared the lamps. And this is where the tour starts. When people buy their ticket for $6 to climb the tower, they will come into the oil room, and they will hear the story about what the keeper did. They'll be introduced to the first keeper, they'll be introduced to the short tower, the tall tower, and there are pictures in this room that allow the guide that's in here, the docent that's in this room, to share the same story with each group that comes. We start promptly at 10 o'clock in the morning for 10 people to come up, go to the top of the tower, and in 20 minutes they need to come down. So that $6 buys them a ticket to the top. Now, there are people who do not want to climb. So just to come through the house, there's a $3 charge for anyone who would like to just come through the house. But I do want to remind your viewers is that the house is not totally restored. People come in and they want it to look like the early 1900s, as I said earlier. We need to raise a lot of money to do that. The preparation is going well, but we're looking at 3 to 5 years before we complete this project, and we have to start, from the top down in this place. But there have been things that have been done here, but our biggest concern is to tell the people the story. And this room allows us to do that. And this room even has a picture of what the fog signal looked like. So there is just the foundation on the park. And people will go, well, what is that? Well, that's where the fog signal. When the tower could not work because of our wonderful storms that move in and it gets totally dark, the fog signal the fire would have been started, the steam would have been released, and the whistle would have allowed the mariners on the lake to know they were in front of the Presque Lighthouse and not to hit the Presque.
Right. And when our beachgoers, again, who maybe come from out of town or from in town, when they come and buy their admission ticket, normally, again, you just have your beach bag. You may or may not have cash on you, and that doesn't matter because your admission accepts credit cards.
It does, and everything begins in the Welcome Center. That's where the visitors will get their tickets, and again, you will have a ticket to climb the tower, which will then also allow you to go through the house, which is $6, or you can purchase a ticket just to go through the house, which is $3. And there will be a greeter at the front door to greet you, to tell you where to go. So nobody has to worry about, now what do I do next? The greeter will be there. She will direct or he will direct you what direction that you need to go.
Okay. We have these beautiful stairs behind us that we want to showcase here. Again, the stairs are steep, and just make sure that you're not afraid of heights because you are climbing a lighthouse tower, a working lighthouse tower.
78 steps.
78 steps.
And
not quite the Statue of Liberty, but we're getting there.
Right. And by the way, when you mentioned the Statue of Liberty, they only allow 10 people in their tower at a time.
See?
Imagine that.
I was going to say, for safety reasons.
Right.
And
our steps are narrow, like you said.
Right.
You can't pass on them. There are 6 landings, which allow people to catch their breath. So we don't want to scare anybody because you truly can do it.
You can, and I will tell you, I did it last year. I believe I was about 4 months pregnant, and I climbed all the way to the top. So if I can do it, I know that our viewers can do it.
Right.
From here, I want to move on to the next room that you've just renovated.
Right. It's the parlor.
Okay.
It's probably the most important room in the house.
And
outside of this room, the oil room is the center of attention, center of work for the keeper. But then the center for the visitors is the parlor.
Let's head there now. Okay, we have come inside the lighthouse. We have stopped into the oil room. We have now moved along to the parlor room, which is a really special room that you have a lot of history on.
We do. And the first thing I want to mention is this is the room where the keeper and his wife would have brought the people who came to visit. And everybody was allowed to come into the parlor. So they would bring them into the parlor. The door would be shut into the main living area. So this would have been where he would meet and greet and tell the people about the lighthouse. Behind us was a door where this file cabinet is right now. There was a door there, and we will put that back someday so that we can give the people the full effect of coming into the parlor. Now the parlor would have been, like I said, the meet and greet. He would have told people why we have the lighthouse. So what we've done now for our visitors this year is to put the story on the walls, okay? That was not difficult because, there's a beginning to this because the lighthouse was opened in 1872, actually started construction in 72, opened in 73, And that's the story we want to tell because it's still, as I said earlier, still a working aid to navigation. So the light still comes on every night. So that's the one thing that we want people to understand. So around this room, you will see pictures of the first keeper. And you will see a list of all of the keepers. And so there were 9 of them. And so we want people to understand that their job, even though it was isolated out here, we had one keeper who stayed 26 years. They had no children, And then when the road came in, he had thousands of visitors. And so he retired. But the next keeper that came in had 5 children. So this would have been a really fun place. So back to the parlor. I digress. But back to the parlor. This is where he would have meet and greet, and then he would have taken all the visitors up the tower. Okay, and if they were going to stay for dinner, the other door would have been open and they would have gone into what was called the dining room. So the dining room in the Lighthouse is like the family room, the dining room, the living room. That's where the big stove was to heat the upstairs and to heat this room. Okay, so it's, but this was the center of what we want to show people that are coming to see us this year is how we put together the story for them, and I think that they will enjoy. They'll get a lot out of it. Everything has a label to it, and it will tell the story. And then what we've forgotten to tell them, we'll go back. I mean, we will have guides here. Again, this goes back to our volunteers. There will be a volunteer here who will follow the scripts that are on the walls and in their handouts. So we'll be good to go.
And you did mention that the floors are all original, is that right?
This one, not all of them. This one is. This is the parlor, this is pine wood. And again, it's a little worn right now, but when we get the whole parlor done, this will be a special room because this is the original floor. Now, we don't know what's under the other floor, but we'll find out eventually, and I would hope that the viewers will be patient with us. Like I said, it's going to take 3 to 5 years, maybe more, because we have to raise money. We have to raise $1.5 to $2 million to do the things that we said we would do. So.
And again, the Lighthouse was and still is a working station that helps guide ships from running into Presque Isle. And so what I want to showcase behind us are the ghost shapes of this particular quadrangle of Lake Erie. So do you want to talk about any of the mishaps that have happened or the shipwrecks that have occurred off of Lake Erie?
Okay, there are several, and there are a couple reasons. Not because the lighthouse wasn't working, I might add, but because Lake Erie is the shallowest of all the lakes. So the storms come up on Lake Erie, unlike the other 4 lakes.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. And so these people were adventuresome, and you can see on this map, if you can zero in on this, you can see that this over here is New York, this over here is Ohio, and right there in the center, you can see the number of ships that have been identified. So we like to tell that story, and we also have a guide to show them how far the light beam will go out into the water, keeping in mind that Canada is only about 26 miles across.
Right.
So if we come halfway and they go halfway, then we're good.
Right, and that would be Long Point. Is
Yes.
that correct?
13.5 miles, the light shines, and
Okay.
you'll see the light that's up there when you go up there. It's a different light than the Fresnel lens that we have in the lake room, but it's a new version. It's still the way it is designed. And when people go up, they're fascinated because it's like 6 donuts, one donut sitting on top of the other. But what it does is it doesn't permit the light to go up or permit the light to go down because the sides are curved. And so the light goes straight out.
Right.
So that's fascinating.
It is. And we've talked about the Fresnel lens before. It is very impressive.
It is. We have a 4th order. The one that we have on display here at the Lighthouse, we invite people to come and see. It is not the one that was in our lighthouse. The one that was in our lighthouse was very unique in that it had red panels on the sides. So ours revolved. So it was called the flashlight because it would flash red and white and red and white, which was very, very unique. But we can't find it. So we hope that in our mission here that it will turn up, that somebody will have seen it. It was removed in 1962, to get that date right. And we really don't know where it is, but we have the pictures. So that's what we're going on. And the hunt is on to find it.
Okay, so our viewers, keep an eye out for these lenses, and it's a good cautionary tale for anybody who is boating today as well. Storms do come up quickly on Lake Erie. Again, always make sure you have your life vests, make sure you know the weather, make sure you know your safe boating practices, and that you can have access to get back to land quickly, because the lake gets choppy.
Don't want you on this map.
Right. The lake gets choppy very quickly, I know. And in this room, last year we toured this room, and it held all of your gift shop items. Where are those now?
They're in the gift shop. They're in the Welcome Center. And Michael will be sharing that with you, or he did already. And so yeah, we hope people can just come and go to the gift shop, into the Welcome Center if they choose. They'll be able to walk the grounds, but again, there is a charge to come into the house, a $3 charge if you just want to come into the house, and a $6 charge to climb the tower and to go through the house. That $6 charge will do both.
And Jackie, you have such a good website. I do want to talk about your website too. You have such a good website that talks about volunteering, membership, history, picture gallery, which we're going to include a lot of pictures with this interview, the license plate application. First of all, I want to touch on what is the website for the Lighthouse.
Okay, you're going to ask me to rattle off those initials. www.presquelighthouse.org.
.org. Okay, and then I just mentioned it, but I want to talk about that license plate.
Just happened to have one, Justin.
Right, here it is.
And I have a couple new things I want to share with you. This is the license plate, and we're up to 1,302, I think. Don't quote me on that, but again, this is a license plate. Anyone who has a registration, a vehicle registration for Pennsylvania, can have this on their car. Okay, and the applications are online, or they can just come here to the Lighthouse and pick it up.
Perfect. And again, it's a fundraiser for you guys.
It is.
To help restore.
Let me add that we get it's $49.50, and we, the Lighthouse, get $17.50 for restoration from each plate that's sold. Another thing that I want to share with the viewers is this book. It's a fascinating book because it just is the lighthouses on the Great Lakes. And what it does is it defines it by lake. So you can go through this and you can set out make a bucket list and set out and go to all the lighthouses on Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. And this book allows you to record the date, shows you how to get there. It's just a fun book, and it is for sale in the gift shop. Another thing that I want to share with the viewers is this is a lighthouse passport. You take this to all the lighthouses that you visit, and you get the stamp in there. And then the U.S. Lighthouse Society out of Washington will give you a certificate, and it looks just like a regular passport. And we have the stamps here for our 3 lights. So when you buy the passport in our gift shop, and go to the other 2 lights, they will stamp your passport book.
And the other 2 lighthouses. We do have 3 lighthouses here in Erie, PA.
We do. The Land Lighthouse is over on Lighthouse Street, in the area of East High School. But it has been dark since 1899, because when people think about how the peninsula juts out into the lake, where the Land Lighthouse sits, high on the bluff, did not service the people properly. So it went dark, and this one has been put into service, and like I said, it's been shining ever since 1873. Now the pier light is also still works. It still is a working aid to navigation, and it's located on that long pier in the entrance to the bay. So people can walk out on that pier. It's not open though. It's not open, but they can come here.
Right, exactly.
Because we will be open, and we will be open 7 days a week from now until Labor Day.
Okay, and tell me one more time, what are your hours?
10 to 5.
10 to 5 every single day.
Every single day.
Okay.
And if it rains, we do have to close if the storm moves in, as it does here on Lake Erie. Our docents, our guides are in charge. I mean, if you can hear thunder, then there's lightning, and the tower has to close. So people need to be cognizant of that. Don't come out here and expect that the lighthouse is going to be open if there's a storm moving in, or if it's just moved out, because we have to be very cautious with the lightning, because that's a steel platform up there on the top.
Right. And again, the main mission of the Lighthouse is safety. And I also want to talk about, because we've talked about all these fundraisers that you guys do to restore the Lighthouse, what are your next plans for renovation coming into the future?
Well, once you look at the yard was a big accomplishment. The period fence went up, and it is the fence that was here in the early 1900s. It's called an armrail fence. The grass was put in, the flagpole was put where it used to be, and then the surrounding area, we are going to the fence encloses the whole campus now, so that's a different thing for people too. But the fact that we'll be open every day, and what the next job will be is to begin the restoration of the house. When you go up in the tower, you're going to see how that's been improved. You're going to notice it looks much different than it, same stairs, looks much different than it did last year. But, you know, we have to start someplace and we're just making progress. So I ask people to be patient and to become a member.
Right.
You know, become a member, come and visit us, you know, share the history here and become a volunteer.
Yeah. And that is really going to benefit you guys the most.
It drives it. You know, we've gone from 4 volunteers to 140 volunteers.
Jackie, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us today. Are there any last or final thoughts or messages that you want to leave our viewers with?
Just come and visit us. You know, come and visit us. Come and visit our beautiful Welcome Center. Pick up a brochure, learn about the lighthouses, and become a member. I would encourage people to become a member because that's the way we're going to be able to restore it back to the early 1900s.
And you have such a vision. We really, really appreciate all the time that you have dedicated to the lighthouse and, you know, really for opening this to the public because this didn't used to be able to be toured and viewed by the public before. So we want to thank you.
Right. It is a nonprofit organization and we do have to abide. I want to remind the viewers we are under the auspices of the DCNR, Department of Environmental Resources, and our lease is with them. Okay, so we have to abide by all of the rules of the park, and so that guides us. And again, it's been a mission to get this open to the public, so we've achieved that, and now our next mission is to restore it, and we're going to get there.
Yes, you will. And on your way here to Presque and to the lighthouse, always remember to drive 25.
Right.
There was a lot of Erie history that we covered during our tour today. The Presque Lighthouse is a treasured landmark for both the local community and our out-of-town visitors. I highly recommend you and your family make plans to tour the lighthouse this week. Tours do fill up quickly. I would also encourage you to show your support by becoming a member or volunteer, making a charitable donation, or by purchasing an official Presque Lighthouse license plate. As always, thanks for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.